folks are ready to start up the meeting. In the meantime and between time, I just want to let you folks know that are signing on. So please sign on with your mics closed, please. There's too much interference. So if you could please sign on with your mics closed so that we can get things jumping up again in the right way and make sure that we have a good session this afternoon. So please, you folks that are signing on, please sign on with your mics closed. We're going to drop this one by the man, Mighty Pat. This one is called My Pledge to the Labor Administration.
I'm asking all my brothers and sisters of the Labour Party to join with me and sing this song. Long ago, when it had just about 10 families who used to own the whole of this little country. If you were not a part of the plantocracy, you were lesser than a dog infested with flea. Then Papa Bacha came on the scene, crushed the slave drivers, them regime when he joined the Labour Party. Equal rights for one and everybody. The Boko and them, I say they got so angry, will do anything to destroy the Labour Party. We recruit the Aaron boys and them to kick up a storm. And that's how the Pan Party was formed. But I pledge allegiance to my country. Anywhere I go, with my life I will defend she. I also pledge allegiance, listen carefully. I will always be a part of the Labour Party. So don't tell me nothing about wrong. And the leaders I don't give a damn. Those are the one mash up this country. Now they blaming the Labour Party. Remember before 1980, no drugs or gun was in this country. But from the Pan Party took over, birds of a feather flock together. Say it already, gone say it again. How you could vote for people like them? Come and join with me and thank God for the Labour Party. Sing the chorus. Bam 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 bam. Labour. If anybody could remember the 10th of June 1967, when a gang of thugs who born here in this country tried to overthrow the Labour Party. So they pick your mercenary soldiers who do anything for money. The mission, so they tell me, was to destroy everything in this little country. Poison the water, blow gas tank, destroy the army. A gang of bandits who seems to have the mercy. The police and power plant that was to destroy completely. It's an open secret, we all know who they be. I pledge allegiance to my country. Anywhere I go, with my life I will defend she. I also pledge allegiance, listen carefully. I will always be a part of the Labour Party. So don't tell me nothing about Pan. And the leaders I don't give a damn. Those are the one mash up this country. Now they blaming the Labour Party. Remember before 1980, no drugs or gun was in this country. But from the Pan Party took over, birds of a feather flock together. Say it already, gone say it again. How you go vote for people like them? Come and join with me and thank God for the Labour Party. Sing the chorus. Labour. My fellow Kittitians, now honestly tell me, if the Labour Party have done nothing for this country. People who used to live in dilapidated patchy, Labour build them concrete house for absolute free. Hotel building in Frigate Bay, tourists coming in every day, taxi drivers making money, new business stimulating the economy. Lots of farm people, some could not afford their house rent. Now they got big jobs working for the Labour government. Still they're walking around cussing the Labour Party. All on the internet, get rid of them real quickly. Sing the song. I pledge allegiance to my country. Anywhere I go, with my life I will defend she. I also pledge allegiance, listen carefully. I will always be a part of the Labour Party. So don't tell me nothing but pam. And the leaders, I don't give a damn. Those are the one mash up this country. Now they blaming the Labour Party. Remember before 1980, no drugs no gun was in this country. But from the PAM party took over, both of our feather flock together. Say it already, go say it again. How you go vote for people like them? Come and join with me and thank God for the Labour Party. Sing the chorus, I pledge allegiance to my country. Anywhere I go, with my life I will defend she. I also pledge allegiance, listen carefully. I will always be a part of the Labour Party. So don't tell me nothing but pam. And the leaders, I don't give a damn. Those are the one mash up this country. Now they blaming the Labour Party. Remember before 1980, no drugs no gun was in this country. But from the PAM party took over, both of our feather flock together. Say it already, God, say it again. How you could vote for people like them? Come and join with me and thank God for the Labour Party.
Yes, folks, we got to really thank God for the Labour Party, because currently Timothy Harris and his cabals there, the minority government, has the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis in a very bad state. And the only party that is capable of bringing us back together, put us back where we were 7 years ago, 8 years ago, is the Labour Party. And I want to reach across the waters to my brothers and sisters there in Nevis to let you all know that we are the same, we are one. And only Labour can do something like this to take themselves globally and make sure they touch every national across the globe and bring the message of hope. Have faith in Labour. I have faith in Labour because of my love for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I know the Labour Party is capable of giving us back that hope that we need right now. Folks that are joining, again, please join with your mics closed so that there's no interference in the stream as we drop some tracks and wait for the host to come and get things going. We'll be getting going shortly. Stand by for yet another track. Matt,
I am asking all citizens and Nevisians, wherever you are, to get together, put aside the differences, and let us live as one, as we ought to. shackles of slavery, entwined through history with a common destiny. Now all four parents came together from Africa, yeah, in chains. They shared the same pain, suffered sin and shame. I go tell you again, we are, yes, we are the same, same. So everybody know I am a Kittian. But when I check for my family tree, I am also Nivision. Politicians through the years divide and rule we. While we busy making war, they living high and mighty. Unity is strength. Lord, we know there's some sins is small. It's time that we get together and make it better for one and all, because we are one people. From the despairs of slavery, get the same knockout from Master Whitey. Now my black brother and your black sister had to toil there at night in chain, sharing the same pain, suffering, sin and shame. So join the refrain. We are, yes, we are the same, same.
That's about it. The King Element. We are the same St. Kitts-Nevis. Right about now, I'm going to turn you over to the host of this event this afternoon as we take it to the St. Kitts-Nevis Diaspora Webinar program.
Thank you very much. When does the service start?
Go ahead.
Yes. Esteemed political leader of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Terrance Drew, leader of the opposition of St. Kitts and Nevis and immediate past leader of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas, deputy leader of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, Dr. the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley, all candidates of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party.
Oh, I'm sorry to disrupt. Jeffrey, could you tell me the name of that song? Could you tell me the name of the song? I want to download.
It is not the time for that. We'll get back to you with that, no problem. Go ahead, sis.
Yes. Yes, my apologies for that. Is everything okay, DJ?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yes. Just to continue with the order of precedence, former parliamentarians and candidates of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party who are logged in, excellencies, those who would have been ambassadors of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and who are also logged on, our specially invited guests, the executives and members of our Labour Women, presidents of the various Friends of Labour and Diaspora associations, our students logging in from Taiwan and Cuba and around the world, members of the media who also logged in, well-wishers and friends, comrades all, a very, very pleasant good afternoon to all who are logged in and participating in this, the second Diaspora Forum, organized by the Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. I am your host, Nerese Dockery, National Secretary of the Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, and I welcome you all to this forum today. We have a packed program for you today as we engage in an interactive conversation with our overseas nationals and the leader and the candidates of the Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. It is meant to be a very interactive exercise where your questions and comments will be fielded during the question and answer period. This Diaspora series is intended to demonstrate to our nationals that the Kitts-Nevis Labour Party values our diaspora of St. Kitts and Nevis and wants to build and institutionalize a relationship that is mutually beneficial and redounds to the success of our national and community development objectives as we move forward into victory and a new Labour-led administration. As we are aware, these are some very troubling times in our federation. DJ Morris already alluded to some of that. Also, globally, there are many, many challenges that our country is facing, and our diaspora will play a very important role in lending assistance and of their resources and talent that will help our federation to navigate safely to calmer waters. Today, the Kitts-Nevis Labour Party wants to send a clear message that we value and appreciate you, citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis living abroad. We are looking forward to continuing the conversation well after this forum today as we work together to take our party and our country forward together. The theme for our conversation today is A New Day, A Better Way with Labour. We will receive greetings from each of our candidates, and we will also receive a feature address from our champion, our leader, Dr. Terrance Drew. Following these remarks, the forum will be opened for 30 minutes. So without any further ado, I would now invite Pastor Adrian Phillip, or Comrade Adrian Phillip, a member of our diaspora, to deliver the invocation.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Abba, we honor you. We lift your name high because you're indeed worthy of our praise. Lord, as we have gathered for this meeting, we ask for your guidance. We pray for strength and clarity of thought, that you will bless us indeed. Lord, you are aware we are living in unprecedented times where wrong has become right and right wrong. We pray today, Lord, that you will inspire us to always be on the right side. We pray for togetherness in this meeting, and as we plan, you will bring them to fruition. We thank you and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We will now stand for the national anthem wherever you are. I'm inviting you to stand in respect for our national anthem, which will be rendered by Mrs. Adelcia Connor Furlance.
Greetings, fellow comrades. We now reverence the national anthem of our beautiful Twin Island Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis. Oh, land of beauty, our country, where peace around, thy children stand free on the strength of will and love, with God in all the struggles, Saint Kitts and Nevis be a nation bound together with a common destiny. As stalwart we stand
for justice and liberty, with wisdom and truth. We will serve and honor thee. No sword, no spear shall conquer, for God will sure defend. His blessings shall forever to posterity extend. Thank you.
We thank you, Mrs. Falance, for such a marvelous rendition of our national anthem. Before I move on, I would like to establish some ground rules in relation to those who are logging in. For those participants logged in to the Zoom meeting, you are asked during the question and answer period to raise your hands to indicate if you have a question or a comment, or you can send a text in the Zoom chat, and you would need to just preface it with the word question, Q, or the word comment, or C for a question or comment that you would like raised. There is someone who is dedicated to presenting those questions and comments on your behalf during that period. For those who are viewing on Facebook and YouTube, we will also like to hear from you, and we invite you to send your questions. Again, preface what you have to ask with the word question or Q, or if it's a comment, with the word comment or C. So that would follow during the question and answer period. So with that being said, I now have the pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Terrance Drew, political leader of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, and he will be taking the podium at this time.
Good afternoon to all. As was introduced, I am Dr. Terrance Drew, the leader of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and candidate for constituency number 8. I am indeed happy to be here to share this space with you, our nationals who are living abroad, but who are very much a part of us. You are a part of us, irrespective of where you live in this world. And therefore, these type of engagements must be continuous and meaningful to ensure that all are participating in nation building. I want to recognize, of course, our leader emeritus, and our immediate past leader and leader of the opposition, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, who is here, of course. I also want to recognize the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Deputy Leader of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and Parliamentary Representative for Constituency number 1. I want to also recognize the Honorable Conris Maynard, our other Deputy Leader and candidate for constituency number 3. I want to recognize our candidate for constituency number 7, candidate Comrade Leon Natter Nelson. I also want to recognize our woman of power, our candidate for constituency number 2. And I'm speaking of Comrade Marsha Henderson, and our candidate for constituency number 4, candidate Comrade Samuel Duggins. And this afternoon, Comrade Kenneth Douglas, His Excellency, is not present with us today for circumstances beyond his control and our control, but he does send his greetings to you, his fellow citizens in the diaspora. I want to really thank our friends of labor, the St. Kitts-Nevis associations, and the many NGOs that continue to support and contribute to our country and to our party. You contribute in many different ways, in nation building and party building, and not just financially. I also want to thank those NGOs that are just starting and those who have made advancing the vision of our country and the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party your cause and mission. I am also happy to have with us groups of our students studying abroad, for example, in Taiwan and Cuba, throughout the Caribbean, North America, Europe, wherever you are found in the world. As our students, we welcome you as well. The love, support, and enthusiasm coming from our diaspora, from you, our people who are now residing overseas, is both heartwarming and encouraging. Our nationals abroad are very important to us here in St. Kitts-Nevis and very important to our party, not just because of the strength of your vote, but for the role that you play as active citizens in the cause of nation building. Today, we see that the Harris-led coalition government promised to improve diaspora engagement. However, no attempt has been made to institutionalize diaspora engagement for development in a serious way. Another promise made, another promise broken. Upon assuming office, the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit was immediately dismantled or is at least dysfunctional. The former Labor administration, led by our esteemed leader emeritus, established the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit within the Office of the Prime Minister in 2011 to deal with diaspora engagement at the highest level in order to institutionalize mechanisms to communicate with the diaspora, coordinate policies, and provide support for follow-up and meaningful action. For us, our overseas nationals are not just voters. You are an essential part of the citizenry and the body politic of St. Kitts-Nevis. Our diaspora will play an integral role in the implementation of our vision for transformative action here in St. Kitts-Nevis. It is our stance that our citizens living abroad must continue to play a role in the politics and development of our great federation. The Harris-led administration, which is now a clear dictatorship, has been very callous and deceptive in his treatment of our overseas nationals. We can all remember in 2015, he came to you and begged you to return to St. Kitts-Nevis to vote out the then Labor administration. He sold you dreams of change and good governance, but since then has only delivered nightmares for the last 7 years. In 2020, he gave our overseas nationals what you will look at as a slap in the face, telling you who out stay out and who in stay in, making fun of our nationals who may have wanted to come home to exercise their franchise, their right to vote. This clearly demonstrates that he has never had any respect for our overseas nationals and what you contribute to our country, nor has any long-term vision as to building a long-term, mutually beneficial relationship with our constituents living abroad. Harris's administration will go down in history as the most corrupt, greedy, and incompetent and failed governance that St. Kitts-Nevis has ever seen. The St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party values our overseas nationals and is committed to incorporating diaspora engagement as an integral part of development planning, not just a sideline or an add-on. With this explicit development-oriented mandate, the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party intends to take concrete steps towards putting the necessary institutional machinery in place that would bring diaspora treasurer and talent to the table. Given the small size of our population resident here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the success of our development agenda on St. Kitts and on Nevis will rely on how successful we are in the active engagement of our diaspora for both community and national development. We need you, our people. We need our diaspora. We need your resources, your talent, your contacts, your ideas, your creativity, and your technology to contribute to making our vision a success and to take our communities and our nation forward. As our country now begins to adjust, our economy also needs to adjust to a better normal. Post-COVID, we know that things have changed. And as we seek to put our people back to work and bring in new investments in critical areas such as health, infrastructure, tourism, creative industries, renewable energy, and building climate-smart resilience. The diaspora has a critical role to play in national as well as community development, including as networkers, investors, co-creators, marketers, and promoters. The diaspora increasingly represents a key market and source of external investment, as well as a vehicle for innovation and creative adaptation. I want to wrap up my opening remarks by saying to you, our people in the diaspora, that our country, St. Kitts and Nevis, we find ourselves now in the worst political crisis that we have ever had since independence. We have a prime minister who is acting as a dictator. And when you read the letter that was put out by the NGOs, you'll recognize why even the NGOs are so concerned about the action of the prime minister at this moment. He continues to act as if things are normal. But let me bring you up to date as to a number of critical facts, if you are not aware, my dear people of the diaspora. One, we know that a motion of no confidence was filed against Harris by 7 members of his cabinet. I want to say that again, that even by 6 members, that even the members of his cabinet are not supporting Harris. Plus, of course, our 2 elected members are not supporting Harris. So 8 out of 11 elected members are not supporting Harris at this time. However, he continues to act without being held accountable, signing large contracts, making big deals on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, when he knows he does not have the political support nor the political capital to do such. Harris has asked the Governor General to close down the parliament, which means there's no oversight for much of the things that he's doing at this moment. I said to you, our dear people in the diaspora, that this is a serious political crisis. Our country is on the edge, and Harris is behaving like a dictator, dictating how things go in St. Kitts and Nevis without the support. We are calling on him to put an end to this type of activity. Ours is a country that is built on the principles of democracy and good governance. And we in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour, we stand on the side of democracy always, because I will remind us that democracy came to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party before it came to us, St. Kitts and Nevis, as a country. And so we are saying to you that your voices must be heard. You must lend your support and to pressure Harris to do the right thing and to call the elections and to just be a caretaker and not engage in any serious political work and not to sign on to any big contracts that can affect a future government. We in the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, we will not stand for that. And I want to alert, as I did last night, when I was at Newton Ground during that massive rally held by the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, that we will be demonstrating and we will be signaling to Harris that we as a country will not accept anymore his dictatorial attitude in government. And I ask you to join us. Our plan as the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party is to re-establish good governance here in St. Kitts-Nevis, to be a transparent administration, and to usher in integrity in public life. On these principles are which we will build the new St. Kitts-Nevis to salvage our country, so that never again greed and corruption will not cause the falling of a government way short of its time. This falling of the government has affected confidence, confidence in investors, confidence in other countries, confidence in those who are interested in helping to develop St. Kitts and Nevis. And lack of confidence of our people here is really affecting the governance of our country. And so I ask you, sincerely and dearly, to stand on the side of democracy, to stand with the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, to stand with me who have been elected to lead this great party, and the one who will be your next Prime Minister. We do not do this alone, but we do this as a team, and I've introduced the team for you of competent men and women with a very experienced past leader who is with us today. And I ask you to stand with us, to give us your support. I ask all citizens, whether you are traditional supporters of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party or not. I ask those who might have been traditional supporters of PAM and those who might be thinking about supporting PLP. I'm asking you to support the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party as we stand ready to bring back decency to governance here in St. Kitts and Nevis and to take our country to the #1 position in the 21st century. Things will definitely be better with Labour. Thank you very much.
Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Show me your voting finger, raise up the voting finger. Show me your voting finger, raise up the voting. Alright, me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Voting for Labour. Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Somebody say, whoa, we voting the comrade back. Yeah, we voting the comrade back. That's why me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. And them asking comrade with the $1 million there. Them asking comrade with the $1 million there. But why them not ask who build all the new school and make the youth them not on food? Why them not ask who give poor people house instead them a run up them? But tell them me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Alright, me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Somebody say, whoa, we voting the comrade back. Yeah, we voting the comrade back. Alright, me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Yeah, no new government, me a try out. Me nah sell out, me nah buy out. A rumors them a lie out. What kind of thing them a try out? You think me no want go a new airport anytime me a fly out? And when poor people cry out, Labour Party don't try out. Cause me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Somebody say, somebody say, that's why me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. And them asking comrade with the $1 million day. Them asking comrade with the $1 million day. But why them not ask who build all the new school and make the youth they not turn fool? Why them not ask who are building new airport? Be fed up fish about one boat. Alright then, me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Me and my neighbor, voting for Labour. Somebody say, whoa, we voting the comrade back. Yeah.
Now back to the host.
Yes, yes. Now it's starting to heat up in this room today. I hope you are all standing on our feet, not because we're here virtually. This is like a public meeting for our diaspora. And I hope that we are all dressed in our reds and we're standing to our feet and we're participating. I just want to thank our leader for so cogently summarizing the state of play here in the politics on the ground in St. Kitts-Nevis. But hope springs eternal in the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. And we are poised to liberate our people from this corrupt and failed government. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Ms. Valda Morris, who will give us a description of the SKN Citizens, which is a movement that is starting in the United States of nationals who are committed to engaging and supporting our Labour Party and the Federation on a whole in terms of its national development goals. So I'd like Ms. Morris to please unmute your mic, and she will also officially launch the skncitizens.org website.
Good day, comrades. I am Valda Morris, and I'm excited to be here with you today. I come to you on behalf of the SKN Citizens Group and on behalf of Dr. Sandra Drew, the Public Relations Officer of the SKN Citizens Group. Each member of the team of the SKN Citizens Group was approved by the comrade leader, Dr. Drew himself. Our team is comprised of a number of professionals who are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, currently resided in the United States. Each member of the team brings specific expertise, and we volunteer our efforts and significant amounts of our time at the direction of the comrade leader and in support of the mission of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. The SKN Citizens Group will partner with other groups in the diaspora that support the mission, vision, and values of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. The SKN Citizens team was formed not to replace the efforts of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party members and supporters on the ground in St. Kitts and Nevis, but to complement those efforts. Today, I'm excited to announce the launch of the new website, www.skncitizens.org, and it will be placed in the chat. That's www.skncitizens.org. The skncitizens.org page was the vision of the comrade leader, Dr. Terrance Drew, and we are elated that we have been able to bring that vision to life. SKNCitizens.org is your hub for information about the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and about each of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party candidates. You may also insert your contact information if you're interested in joining our mailing list to ensure that you don't miss any party news. The SKNCitizens.org website will also be used as an efficient and effective form of communication to share information about events organized by the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and by other organizations that support the party. Please take a moment to familiarize yourself with the site at your convenience. We welcome engagement from all members of the St. Kitts and Nevis diaspora and all supporters of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, regardless of whether you are currently residing in St. Kitts and Nevis or elsewhere. In addition to being a hub for information, the skncitizens.org website is set up to allow you to make monetary contributions in support of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. There's an icon on the main page of the website that clearly states support now. You can click on that link to make a direct contribution. For those supporters of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party who reside in the United States, please note that the SKN Citizens Group is not classified as a non-profit organization. So sadly, your contributions will not be tax deductible. Nonetheless, to all party supporters We appreciate any support that you may be able to give, and no amount is too small. Also, please note that the website allows you to choose to provide your name so the party is aware of your contribution, or you may choose to provide support anonymously. Either way, we appreciate your support, any support that you can give. As we look forward, we are excited by the possibilities ahead with the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party under the leadership of Dr. Terrance Drew. We are invigorated by Dr. Drew's vision for the party, and we pledge our support for him as he ushers in a new era of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. We hope for a brighter future for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you for allowing me a few moments of your time, and do have a blessed day.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. And we encourage everyone to visit the site, and if you're able to kindly contribute and make whatever donation is acceptable to you and affordable to you at this time. We appreciate you, and we look forward to our continued engagement in many different ways, not just financially. As the leader would have outlined, this relationship is intended to be a two-way street in terms of mutual benefits, in which we can include the diaspora in terms of our vision moving forward. With that being said, I move right along in the program, and I invite Mr. Javon Brooks to deliver a poem. Mr. Brooks is a diaspora member residing in the United Kingdom. Mr. Brooks, please unmute your mic and give your rendition.
Pleasant afternoon, everyone. My name is Javon Brooks, and I will be reading a poem written by Amanda Gorman entitled New Day's Lyric. May this be the day we come together. Mourning, we come to mend. Withered, we come to weather. Torn, we come to tend. Battered, we come to better. Tethered by this year of yearning, we are learning that though we weren't ready for this, we have been readied by it. We steadily vow that no matter how we are weighed down, we must always pave a way forward. This hope is our door, our portal. Even if we never get back to normal, someday we can venture beyond it, to leave the known and take the first steps. So let us not return to what was normal, but reach toward what is next. What was cursed, we will cure. What was plagued, we will prove pure. Where we tend to argue, we will try to agree. Those fortunes we forswore, now the future we foresee. Where we weren't aware, we are now awake. Those moments we missed are now these moments we make. The moments we meet and our hearts, once altogether beaten, now altogether beat. Come, look up with kindness yet, for even solace can be sourced from sorrow. We remember not just for the sake of yesterday, but to take on tomorrow. We heed this old spirit. In a new day's lyric, in our hearts we hear it. For all lang syne, my dear, for all lang syne. Be bold, sang time this year, be bold, sang time. For when you honor yesterday, tomorrow ye will find. Know what we fought need not to be forgot, nor for none. It defines us, binds us as one. Come over, join this day just begun. For wherever we come together, we will forever overcome. Thank you.
Those in the UK, those in the USA, and in particular, I have to mention those in my hometown where I call New York, Miami, St. Croix, and of course, St. Thomas. I think my mother is logged in, so I say good afternoon to you, my dear and loving mother in St. Thomas, and all my extended family, wherever you are, I say a pleasant good afternoon to you. I bid you greetings from St. Kitts-Nevis, our homeland. Not my homeland, but our homeland here in St. Kitts-Nevis, more specifically from the shores of Karambola, where the breeze is wonderful, the sunshine is brilliant, and the atmosphere is very friendly. I say that to entice you to come home. Come home to St. Kitts-Nevis at any time, because it remains your home. Sitting next to me on my right, immediate right, is our comrade leader emeritus, but I simply call him Dougie. And the reason why I say that is, and I mention him, is because the Southeast Peninsula has been one of our greatest investments. And Dr. Douglas has done his part to bring to this Southeast Peninsula many of investments like Karambola, where we sit today. And there is no evidence of any other party or government that has done what he has done for us here in St. Kitts-Nevis. So wherever you are at any time, and I've just enticed you with the warmness of where we are now at Karambola, to come home and enjoy what we are feeling here in St. Kitts-Nevis. I know the state of affairs has been dawning on some of your minds, wherever you are. In 2019, the government of the day tried to pass a legislation that would require our overseas residents difficulty to come home and vote. In 2020, after they have failed that, they used the coronavirus situation to lock down the country. And so they said, who out, stay out. Unlike the Denzel Douglas leadership, where at his time he created a returning nationals policy so that no matter what your status is overseas, you are welcome to come home at any time and be given a privilege at our borders. Because it doesn't matter where you go after you have left St. Kitts. No matter what opportunities have taken you outside of this federation, you still remain a Kittitian. And we are so proud and so comforted that you remain attached to the affairs of St. Kitts-Nevis. Whenever I travel, I see you. I recognize you from afar, because most of you would have some replication of a St. Kitts-Nevis flag, some emblem to recognize and say to the world that I am from St. Kitts-Nevis. That means you understand the pride and the commitment and the value of being a Kittitian. I could recall in 2019, I think, Jeffrey, when we journeyed to New York and Miami and other places in the diaspora to have meetings. I said to you, come home. Come home and get married if you want to. Come home and be part of a wedding ceremony. Come home and visit your family and friends. Come home for Easter. Come home for music festival. Come home for Christmas. But most importantly, come home and vote. Be a part of what your country needs you to be. Be a Kittitian. Every time. There's no discounting you, no matter where you live. You are always a Kittitian, and we welcome you. And the vision. But most of all, if you need to at any time, come home to live. The St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, as a government, opens its arms to you at every time. You will be treated like no other. Come home to us at any time, and we welcome you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gone again, I would say those not how we choose. Then I got the heart like we, Not a work hard since 2003. 2004. You don't know nothing about we boy. Stop we Labour Party boy. You don't know nothing about we. Them none nothing about we. Them I got the heart like we. Not a work hard since 2003. 2004. You don't know nothing about we boy. Stop we Labour Party boy. You don't know nothing about we. Them none about we.
Not enough for the people. Yeah, we wanna lead us. Protect your pride, no lose character. Stand firm in the same, that's how it is. Labour Party in it for the win. Not enough for the people. Yeah, we wanna lead us. Protect your pride, no lose character. Stand firm in the same, that's how it is. Labour Party in it for the win.
The more them fight and the more man name call.
Yeah, that's the sound of the man Nathan Nelson there coming at you as we get ready to take you back to the hosts as we're going to introduce another big wig coming from the Labour candidate crew. So listen to this one.
Yo, Central. Too much number two and number two. I know that it's essential. You know that's important. To find a leader with credential. In this next election. Come on. So
Honorable Marsha Henderson, our royal lady, the people's defender of constituency number 2.
Listen to you, Marsha Henderson. Yeah, what Central want you do? Clean up the whole of number 2. Cause too much of mess in number 2. Too much of mess. Who go mobilize the thing no? Marsha. Who organize all the thing no? Marsha. Who centralize all the thing no? No fear of favor. The people defender for more housing in the Central. Marsha. Better get here is essential. Marsha. Pick up the real deal, Marsha. The whole of Central thing, Marsha. Marsha Henderson. I say she's the one for you. Central government from you. So I present to you, Marsha Henderson. Hear what Central want you do. Clean up the whole of number 2. Cause too much of mess in number 2. Too much of mess. Marsha.
Yes, that's the sound of the track there for Marsha for number 2. Enough things for you. Want to pick up the Labour Party.
Good afternoon, everyone. Permit me to just say a special good afternoon to my very loving father and my supportive stepmother, who are both listening this afternoon from Florida. I want to start by thanking you all for being with us here this afternoon. I am honored to be able to speak with you, our comrades, our friends, and our well-wishers overseas for the very first time. Although you're all familiar with me by now, I feel that a brief introduction is still needed. I am Marsha Tamika Henderson, a proud, born and raised McKnight and Market Street production and an attorney at law. It is my life's work to always work in defense of those who are unable to defend themselves. I originally had no political aspirations. However, I was called to add a new purpose to my life by many of the people I had helped over the years. They, knowing who I am and the values that I stand for, put it to me that they were choosing me to stand as their representative in government. So comrades, after much prayer and family consultations, I answered the people's call to serve. I knew, of course, that many life changes would accompany my entrance into the political arena, but I have never been one to back down from a challenge. As the incoming representative for constituency number 2, it is my goal, my vision to improve and enhance the lives of the people of Central Bastille. I continue to beat the streets and listen to their concerns, their cares, and their fears. The hurt and despair that I continue to see in their eyes and hear in their voices pierces me to my core. It is clear, comrades, that the people of Central Bastia lack real representation in government. I have no doubt then that answering their call to serve was the right choice. Life, comrades, under the partisan rule of a dictator here in St. Kitts has not been easy. It has left many without jobs, many dependent on social programs for sustenance, and forever fearful of what other dire situation could or would come next. Once elected, along with my Labour Party colleagues, I am committed to working to ensure that the people of Central Bastia and the entire country by extension no longer have to live in a near-permanent state of high alertness, stress, and fear. Our people deserve so much better. Comrades, I firmly believe that the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party can successfully enact its vision for St. Kitts and Nevis. I also strongly believe that building out the party's vision is a team effort. We need our diaspora nationals as much as we need our nationals right here on the streets with us. Your support, your input, your ideas, your donations, your prayers, every single bit of your input counts towards moving our great party and our people closer to political and socio-economic victory. Even, comrades, if we could do it on our own, it would not be sweet without you guys. So for me, comrades, especially, your support and inputs are most crucial as we move deeper into the campaign and closer to the election date. I want to hear your thoughts, your suggestions, and your ideas. In life, I have learned that guidance and inspiration can come from the most unexpected persons and places. Nothing and no one is insignificant. What you have to say, comrades, matters because you matter. So, comrades, particularly of Central Bastia this afternoon, I pledge to be your representative, your voice, your servant, your defender, and your champion. Thank you all once again for taking the time to dialogue with us. We all appreciate you. I am looking forward to meeting all of you in person, especially the beautiful comrades of Central Bastia. Thank you once again, comrades, and good afternoon.
Yo, Central. Too much number two and number two. I know that it's essential. You know that's important. To find a leader with credential in this next election. Come on.
Comrades, comrades, comrades. That was our royal lady. Now we bring up next, we have the man for number 3, our very own King Conris.
Back again. Jump, 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 jump. You would.
A pleasant good afternoon to all tuned in today for our Diaspora series from across the globe, whether you're in Europe, the North Americas, throughout the Caribbean, Asia, South America, everywhere. We welcome you, and we are so happy to have you this afternoon. It takes really the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party to always be the innovative leader in engaging our people no matter where they are. We have always had a strong commitment to our citizens, whether you live on the soil here or perhaps you make your living elsewhere. but you consider St. Kitts and Nevis your home always. And so we've always been good friends and supporters of our citizens that live in the diaspora. And the reality is, as we said in our conference, is that we feel your energy from here. We feel your engagement. You call us, you message us, you're in tune, you send us advice, and we are grateful and thankful for that. And that is why we will always value you. We will always include you in our processes. And that is why we gave a commitment, and will continue to give the commitment, that Labour will reinstate the regional integration and diaspora unit to serve your needs, such that there is an official medium through which you can assist the development of your country and even your own personal development. Citizens overseas and friends and well-wishers, we in the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party appreciate that there is immense talent across the diaspora. Yes, we're small, but we're Talawa, and we have created every sort of talent that we could possibly create. And many of you have a lot that can be offered to our St. Kitts and Nevis. For instance, we intend, under the leadership of Dr. Terrance Drew, our next Prime Minister and leader of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, to overhaul our healthcare system. There are a lot of experts who are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis who have the talent and access to the resources that is going to be critical in that healthcare overhaul. And so we want you to be a part of it because you have the know-how. I recall vividly when we traveled the last time, we met some of you who had very, very good ideas, feasible and reasonable ideas on how we will make our healthcare system #1 in our region. When we look at overhauling our education system, this is another area that people of St. Kitts and Nevis have excelled. There is probably no major university across this globe that does not have alumni or a member of staff who is from St. Kitts and Nevis. There's just always one. And we know that you have a tremendous amount to offer. Some of you lead departments in universities. Some of you lead your own labs in the top universities across this globe. And we are saying, as we transform our educational system, we will be engaging you to assist us in the build-out of our own education system. Another important aspect which you have tremendous talent in is as we make St. Kitts and Nevis a digital country with a top-class e-government. Presently, we are not even on the radar when they assess e-governments around the world. You have folks like Denmark and Estonia and others, Republic of Korea, Finland, Australia, Sweden, United Kingdom, New Zealand, United States, Netherlands, Singapore, Iceland, Norway, and Japan, just to name a few of the advanced e-governments. But we've always maintained, and I in particular have a saying, that St. Kitts and Nevis is small enough to achieve what these big countries have achieved. That is because any good policy can permeate our society very quickly. That is why we have one of the highest rates of penetration when it comes to cell phone service. And so one of the things that is going to be critical in our engagement with you is how we are going to make our country the first major e-government country across the region. And with my own background in electrical and computer engineering, this is something that I am passionate about, and I know that our colleagues here in the party also are passionate about. And so we will need your engagement in that. Now, we can go on and on in terms of some of the different aspects that you have immense talent in. But importantly, we also want to stress on your right to participate in the electoral process here in St. Kitts and Nevis. As my comrade Nata mentioned, there have been attempts to thwart your ability to do so. coming from those who know that they can no longer depend on your support. And so while they may have your support, they support you, but when your support is no longer with them, they want to shut you out. We are saying that those who are actively engaged in being a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis through assistance in whatever way, support from afar, and always in tune to what is happening here, you have a right to be a part of our electoral process. And the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party will do all in its power to protect that. And so that is why we will always continue to engage you. It is not just about, as we mentioned, for politics or election time. We want to engage you beyond that as we build out our country to be the best in the region. And so, again, we bring well wishes and all the best. It is really our pleasure to be here to speak with you. I am Conress Maynard, the candidate for constituency number 3, and I want to report that we are bringing back constituency number 3 under the leadership of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party when the next elections come. And we will sit in Parliament as a Labour representative from constituency number 3 in the next Labour administration of our government. And so we look forward to seeing you soon, and when we travel and when you travel, and all the very best. Thank you for being here with us.
Yes, that was demand from number 3. Give it up for the Honorable, soon-to-be, once again, Conress Maynard. I now bring you Mr. Odell McCoy, who will be delivering a song. Mr. McCoy is a member of the Diaspora USA. Welcome, and please unmute your mic. Thank you. Okay, unfortunately, Mr. McCoy was unable to join us. And so we will move right along, and we will now hear from our candidate, one of our newest members, but not new to the public scene when it comes to delivering for our people. And his name is Mr. Samal Duggins. Many of you would have heard of him from many of his projects that he would have undertaken and his scholarships in constituency number 4. So join me in welcoming him to the podium.
Red and ready, red and ready. Been at the top so long, them why you fall off. Them still in my name, they want to scratch off. Samuel Duggins, we have vote for. Can't lose in another way you ban for. I'ma try to pull you down. But some
Greetings to you, comrades in the diaspora, wherever you are listening from, be it the USA, Canada, England, Taiwan, Cuba, or wherever you are. Greetings to you. I want to send greetings from sunny St. Kitts, sitting here on the shores of Carambola. I know for some of you it may be cold, but I want to let you know that home is beautiful. Yes, as indicated, my name is Samuel Duggins, a proud family man, food hero, entertainer, entrepreneur, youth activist, change agent, and indeed the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party's candidate for constituency number 4. And today, I want to ensure you that we are here indeed to deliver a new day and a better way. Not just for the people of constituency 4, but for our beautiful country, St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, the people of constituency 4 are definitely a proud and very talented people, extremely talented. But sadly, the constituency has been neglected for far too long and in far too many ways. And the people have really been taken for granted. And so, as I moved to the constituency, I could not as a businessman, as a student, as a teacher, watch this go on forever and not take part at a higher level. And it was in 2020 when there was the COVID-19 pandemic. And right after the pandemic lockdowns, the early lockdowns of the pandemic in April, I got together with some friends and we started a food drive. And during that food drive, the number of persons within the constituency that literally shed tears from receiving food packages moved me. And I thought to myself, you know, there's nowhere in a country like ours people should be crying for receiving food. And it spoke to me as to the state that our country was in. And I thought to myself then and there, Samal, if you don't do something to assist this further, you'll be a hypocrite. And I decided not to be a hypocrite. So as of 2020, I had committed myself to ensuring that the people of number 4 had at least somebody there to look out for them, to represent them where there was missing representation. And I have stuck to that commitment, and that commitment has led me here today to be one of the 8 winning candidates for the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party in this upcoming election. You see, as I sit here at the table, I sit with a group of competent, well-rounded individuals. 7 other men, well, 6 other men, and 1 female, who stand ready, who stand prepared, who stand willing to deliver for the people of St. Kitts-Nevis. And I know you in the diaspora, you're tuned in, because we see the views as we do the videos on social media. We hear the comments, we hear your concerns on the radio, and we know that you're tuned in. But I want you to know that as much as you're tuned in, we are also in tune with you and the people of this country. We know you represent a wealth of talent. You represent a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge. And we want to invite that knowledge and that talent home. Because our human resource is our greatest resource. And as our greatest resource and members of our citizenship, you represent all that we are and all that we can be. And your experience out in larger countries, the US, the Canada, and England and other places, you can then return with that wealth of knowledge and introduce some of the new innovative ideas that you experience back to our country and help us in that rebuilding process, because it won't be an easy task, and we know this. So I say to you, not only that you are welcomed home, but that you need to be home, that you deserve a right to be home. And we have seen efforts to block you from being home from this present government. And we are hearing of efforts to try and block you from being home to participate in your democratic, in a process where you have a right to be involved in. You have a democratic right to be involved in the electoral process. And we are hearing of efforts to try and block that. And I say to you here now that we are committed to doing all that we can to ensure that you have the right to come in and partake in this. And partake in a victory that is sure to come for the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. We want all of us to be jumping to the streets of Bastille when you hear that all 8 candidates for the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party are returned to Parliament to bring a new day and a better way for this country. So I say to you, as we stand here ready to improve agriculture and our food and nutrition security, as we stand here ready to improve infrastructure, as we stand here ready to develop small business enterprises and help them to grow, and as I stand here ready and committed to developing the great constituency of constituency number 4, I invite you all in to stand with me, to walk with me, and to walk with all of us in our efforts to deliver in that new day and a better way. So I say thank you, I say welcome, and again, I say greetings from sunny St. Kitts. We are here at the shores of a wonderful beach in Southeast Peninsula, waiting for you to join us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Samal. Ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible team we have. I don't know what we don't have in this team. We have engineers, we have farmers, we have social and community activists, doctors, lawyers. We have it all in the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. And with your help, we can bring it home for this team in the next general elections. So before I move further, I would like to invite to her mic Miss Donna Blake, who will also be delivering a spoken word item. Miss Blake.
A pleasant good afternoon to my comrades, both at home and abroad. My name is Donna Blake. I'll be delivering a poem from the late Millicent Byron. It is entitled St. Christopher, St. Kitts-Nevis. The isle was named St. Christopher, but it's sometimes called St. Kitts. It used to give post office clerks nearly 1,000 fits to decide where was St. Christopher and just where was St. Kitts. It really is confusing. I think we'll have to choose which of these names we prefer and which we will lose. For each one has a flavor. It's clearly of its own. And if we try to lift one up, we'll have to put one down. St. Christopher is dignified. St. Kitts is pert and gay. St. Kitts would make you want to dance. St. Christopher to pray. In St. Kitts, we are happy, always happy. In St. Kitts, we're good. And torn between, it's hard to act exactly how we should. So we should put it to a vote in a democratic way to find out where we want to live and where we're going to stay. Or maybe we can just divide the island into bits. Some can live in St. Christopher and the rest in St. Kitts. Let us all remember who we are, a resilient people of this federation we dare to call St. Kitts and Nevis. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blake. Comrades, get ready, get ready, get ready. I now present to you the action man, the man who is number one in number one, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley.
With you, I can't lose. I'm forever number one. I am a winner. I am a winner. I am a winner. Hey, yeah.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Comrade Leader, Dr. Terrance Drew, Deputy Leader Conway Maynard, Leader Emeritus, Dr. Denzel Douglas, and all of my other colleagues. A very pleasant good afternoon to each and every one of you. I greet you, the members of the Diaspora, this afternoon
in this very important engagement. I greet all of my warriors from the East, no matter which part of the world you are. I am happy to be here with you this afternoon. And I must say, although Samal is inviting you down to enjoy our beaches, I will have to take a dip because my throat has been acting up. But nonetheless, I would not miss out on this opportunity to greet you, the members of the diaspora, and to let you know how important you are to us, not only the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, but the country and the federation on a whole. We benefit tremendously from you guys starting off with your barrels, and now they have been upgraded to the boxes. Many of your contributions have helped thousands of Kittitians and Nevisians, and we are grateful for that. As your parliamentary representative, East Bastia, I am happy that I have you in my corner, those of you who live in the diaspora and who continue to contribute to every single activity or event we might be putting off in East Bastia. You guys started working with me even before I became a parliamentarian. I vividly remember while I served as the principal of the Bronte Welch Primary School, every activity I did there, all of the initiatives that I brought to that community, and Congress is very proud of that, you guys contributed. You bought the tablets for those children who up until this day use them at the Bronte Welch Primary School. It was you, the persons in the diaspora, when the school was on the verge of closing down, just changing the uniform made such a difference. And it was because of you, the people in the diaspora, we were able to do that. You helped us set up our arcade, sending home all of those games that the children enjoy up to today. When I thought of the physical fitness of the school and thought I wanted to set history by having the first primary school gym in the Caribbean, you, the persons in the diaspora, came on board, and I am grateful. To my family members overseas who continue to support me, I say to you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know if I call names, I'll get into trouble, but I can't do without bigging up my nephew who goes beyond the call of duty to ensure that his uncle get anything that he need in this journey. And as someone who is passionate about our elderly, I remember those cases and cases of adult Pampers that you sent for us from New York, and we are grateful. And as I've been talking in our public meetings, as a future Minister of Education, we are going to be calling on you for greater assistance because government cannot do it alone. And to the WhatsApp message and the call that I got so far, saying that they have secured 200 desks and chairs, I say to you, We are thankful for your contribution, and in a few hours, I will give you the signal when you need to make the shipment. As we continue to look out for our seniors and elders, I call on you to make your contributions as usual in whatever way you can. All of those who have contributed to our food package drive, we say thank you in East Bastia. The popcorn machine, whatever it was, we are grateful for your contribution. And as you have heard Conris saying, that you have a team of strong young men and a powerful woman anchoring us. You can depend on us to deliver on behalf of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party government that will be sworn in very shortly. We look forward to your continued support, your continued engagements and recommendations and suggestions, and we will endeavor to make sure that we make St. Kitts and Nevis #1 once again. Once again, I say to the warriors of East Bastia, I am still with you. I am the right choice. Thank you for your vote in 2020. And I'm trying to ensure that I get all of the votes in 2022. Looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. God blessings.
Comrades, friends, are you enjoying it today? Are you enjoying this forum? Now, next up, since Mr. McCoy is unable to join us, we will go straight right ahead to the constituency of number 6. And as all of us would have tuned in yesterday, where we had the grand office openings and a massive, massive, massive rally, we know that the people of St. Paul's continue to stand firmly behind the Labour Party and will continue to energize our party moving forward. So please help me welcome to the mic the original edition, the one and only, the man who's simply the best, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas.
Hi, from New York to Harris's Labour people, Sampers, Diabetes, Passcode, Sellers, looking for the people, a real devoted leader. He always deliver. Stand firm in a St. Kitts, that's how it is.
Thank you very much, Comrade National Secretary of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. I join with my colleagues here, of course, inclusive of the leader of our party, Dr. Drew, in expressing strong commendations to all those who have been responsible for bringing this particular forum together. I think it is important that we recognize our citizens who, for various reasons, are living abroad, are part of what is happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I know that over the last few weeks and months, you might have been traumatized in hearing of what is happening in your sugar city, St. Kitts and Nevis. You must have been traumatized with the crisis that eventually erupted when the Unity Coalition government collapsed. And not only collapsed in the sense that 6 members of the government wrote to the Governor General asking that he recognize that they no longer support the Prime Minister in the person of Timothy Harris, but that they instead supported the leadership of the Deputy Prime Minister, Sean Richards. And the Governor General responded by indicating that there was nothing that he could do, that he would await the outcome of what would then be a vote of no confidence in the government, as would have been decided with the Parliament sitting. And then after that vote of no confidence resolution was sent to the Parliament, the Prime Minister, before allowing the Parliament to decide on this motion of no confidence, collapsed the Parliament himself, and indicated that there would be an announcement for new elections in the time to come. We are still waiting for that announcement by the Prime Minister for new elections to be called. In the meantime, campaigning has started, and this forum is part of the Labour Party's campaign, bringing to the attention of our citizens at home and abroad exactly what the position of the party is on the ongoing matters and issues, and of course, bringing to your attention in the diaspora what our new plans for a new Labour government would be like. I want to thank you for the support you provided to me and the Labour Party in particular, and in the Labour administration which I led for several years. I remember on being elected to office, we responded positively to a number of concerns that you would have expressed when we were in opposition and had sought your own views and ideas and your responses to a number of issues that confronted our country at that time. In fact, we had pledged that we would establish a consultative democracy here in St. Kitts-Nevis after the PAM administration would have been gone. And that is what we did. In fact, it was because of your strong views that you wanted to participate actively in the development of a new government in a new country. That's why we made sure that when we got into office, we not only consulted with you continuously, but we implemented a number of the ideas that you had thrown at us. In fact, I remember visiting New York, Canada, Toronto, Canada, the UK, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, London, hearing from you and asking for your ideas in establishing that consultative democracy. We knew that we had to do things differently, and you responded very, very positively. In fact, you came in your numbers to participate in this new exercise of government. Our very Attorney General from 1995 came out of the diaspora consultations that we would have. Persons like Gus Williams came home, established themselves as businessmen, entrepreneurs, and investors, and thus responded positively to our call. Persons like Giles Dickinson or Giles Edwards, who today is one of the established videographers here in St. Kitts-Nevis, responded to our call, came home. And many of you who were retiring abroad understood exactly what we said when we said we wanted you to be part of the investment development in St. Kitts-Nevis. You participated actively in investment in new homes, sold your own homes there abroad in the capitals around the world, used that money, came to St. Kitts and Nevis, invested in your own retirement homes here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and you used the importance of your pensions, and in that way invested further in the development of our country. You invested your capital in several different ways, in different businesses, and so you have been an integral part of the continuing development of our country. Today, we recognize that in transitioning the economy from sugar agriculture to one of services, in particular led by hospitality and tourism services, and supported, of course, by the international financial services sector, supported as well in the international communication and telecommunications sector. You came home in your numbers and made sure that we as a country would have become modernized and ready to face the challenges of a new developing world. You are part of us. You have come home, election after election, participated in the election of representatives to form governments, and we would never, ever leave you out. Those in particular in my constituency, constituency number 6, I really thank you for your unswerving support that you have provided in so many different ways, not only at the constituency level, but generally in the establishment of centers here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and getting involved in a number of constituency activities to propel and to continue to develop our communities in the constituency of number 6. Today, we again are touching base with you. We want to hear your ideas. We want you to be part of what is happening here as we transition out of this crisis that we find ourselves in into a functional labor government in the near future. Your ideas are important. Your suggestions, your active participation, we would always welcome. And so I hope that when we pause with this dialogue, we would now hear from you, and we would be able to respond positively to your ideas as we try to bring St. Kitts and Nevis back to a country of stability, one where uncertainty will disappear with the emergence of a strong labor administration, asking you, no matter where you are, use your influence, either directly by coming home and voting, or indirectly by influencing your family members and your friends, giving them the necessary support as they move forward to bring stability and certainty again back to St. Kitts and end the political crisis that we have found ourselves in. My colleagues have indicated the various sectoral challenges that we face, and we again say we need your support, your ideas in moving forward. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Hi, from Newgong to Harris's. Labor people, Sambas,
Comrades, 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 are you ready? Are you ready to deliver this government for the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party? Comrades, comrades, I ask you to stand to your feet as we welcome once again to the podium the man of the moment. Okay. My apologies, there has been a shift in the program. But before I continue, I would like to apologize on behalf of His Excellency Kenneth Douglas, who was away on national duty and was unable to join us today because he's still in quarantine. Our leader has asked to be brought on last to close out this forum. So we would now begin by taking the question and answer period, and we will begin to take questions and comments that you would have been placing in the chats throughout this forum. Again, just to lay the ground rules, if you have a question or comment, please just preface your question with question, the word question, or Q. Or if you have a comment, preface your comment with comment or Q. And I am ably assisted by another emerging leader within our party, Ms. Kelvina Salters, who will be asking your questions, and the response will be coming from our panel. So again, please use the chats, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or for those who would have logged in to the Zoom meeting chats, please indicate, and we will have that conveyed to the panel. Again, please use the chats and read up the place. We would like to see your loves and your likes. Share the live, share the live, share the live as we enter this important question and answer period. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We just have 2 questions so far. And our first question, both of them are open to the floor. Our first question is from Mr. Jonathan Pace, and his question reads, overseas nationals are still required to get permission to come to St. Kitts. How does the Labour Party intend to address that? Once again, overseas nationals are still required to get permission to come to St. Kitts. How does the Labour Party intend to address that?
Right.
The other question, question number 2, comes from Ms. Hazel Claxton. What is the SKNLP's plan in regards to the COVID-19 protocol? Once again, what is the SKNLP's plan in regards to the COVID-19 protocol?
All right, thank you very much for that question, Mr. Jonathan Pace. With respect to overseas nationals asking for permission to come home, as far as I know, the existing protocols with respect to that would have expired. And we actually believe on principle that at this time is really not the time to be asking our nationals for permission. We know in a number of countries, almost all the countries across the Caribbean, they are not really requiring that at this point in time. And we saw that the United States of America has actually now would have eliminated testing. So the world is moving on. The Caribbean is moving on. And for some reason, it seems like the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is not moving on. And we are very suspicious that this might be an actual way to use it for political reasons and to stop our nationals overseas who might want to come home to vote, because it is not making much sense, whether you look at it from an economic standpoint or you look at it even from a scientific standpoint, that the world is really moving on and St. Kitts and Nevis needs to move on. COVID-19 has become endemic. It is here to stay. Those of us here in St. Kitts and Nevis who are not vaccinated would have been in touch with COVID-19 and would have some level of resistance. And so when people are being tested, we will expect that people will come back positive. That will not end. However, just like how in the early 1900s, in the early part of the 20th century, flu was a significant problem, and the time came when the world moved on, and today we are living with the flu. Just like that, the COVID-19 has become. And so we don't agree that our overseas nationals should be asking for permission to come to St. Kitts and Nevis at this time. And with the protocols being expired, as far as we know, this, of course, should not be done. So we are saying that our overseas nationals should be able to come home. And this application for permission and so forth, this is really slowing down the process of, what we consider to be opening up the country so that we can enjoy the economic benefits from this. Our country suffered for 2 years, difficulties. And therefore we are saying it is time to move on. Scientifically, it makes sense. Economically, it makes sense. Socially, it makes sense. We just don't understand why our country continues to lag behind. But we are very suspicious that just like the last election, this can be used for political reasons, which I will say to the government will not be dealt the same way. Democracy must not be compromised.
If I may also add to what the comrade leader has said. I mean, we have music festival coming up within the next few days. Why should our nationals who want to come home to enjoy this particular festivity and to be with their families, why should they have to ask to come home? This is absolute nonsense. As the comrade leader has said, the protocol in particular to this particular matter has expired. But why is the government still insisting that people must apply to come home? It's a whole mockery of what I believe has been established globally. There is no need for this anymore. And so we question what really is the motive of the government in trying to prevent thousands of people to come home for the music festival. Why? Why is the government doing this? And so our citizens abroad must continue to question the government. Why is this taking place? Why?
Can you repeat the second question?
Sure, one
or
second.
if there's another question, you can ask for.
The second question was, what is the SKNLP's plan in regards to the COVID-19 protocol?
Okay, I think that was ably answered. So if you can move on to the next question.
Okay, we will move on. This question comes from a supporter. What can the SKNLP do to ensure that transparency and democracy are visible characteristics of the upcoming election process? Again, what can the SKNLP do to ensure that transparency and democracy are visible characteristics of the upcoming election process? Another question comes from Ms. Brenda Morgan-Lake. How will Labour address those people in the country who are still living in board houses and bring them into modern St. Kitts? This one comes in from Belkis Clark. What are the specific ways in terms of ideas and suggestions for the input that can be delivered to the government?
With respect to the transparency and democracy, and others will be able to speak to this for the elections, I would say that the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party has taken a number of critical steps. One of the steps that we took is that we met with the supervisor of elections and we expressed our concern about a number of critical things that took place in the last election that were really anti-democratic as far as we were concerned. One of the issues was the ballot box that was used. It was transparent. As a matter of fact, people were very, very intimidated by the fact that they thought that their vote could have been seen through the box. We said to him that the box should be opaque so that it does not affect people's real intention. The other issue was observers. As we know from the last election that Timothy Harris did not want observers here in St. Kitts and Nevis. What he actually did was to deny, I think it was the OAS, permission to enter after they would have been granted permission. And we only had a few observers from local and OECS countries. But what we have done thus far to make sure that that does not happen, I have signed letters to send to the organization, the OES, the OECS, the OAS, the Commonwealth, CARICOM and so forth, where we are asking for observers, because we think that we need international regional observers as well as local observers to ensure that there is democracy and transparency in the vote. I want to also draw your attention to a very interesting article that was written in the New York Times. It is the June 21st edition of the New York Times. I want to encourage you to look at it, and I'm going to say it again. The June 21st edition of the New York Times of 2020, where it says, or said then, that democracy was under threat in the Caribbean and Latin America, and St. Kitts and Nevis was highlighted because they said in that article, the government candidates were able to go out and canvass and carry out full political activities, but we were shut down and locked down under the unfair, unjust, undemocratic protocols for COVID then. They were lopsided to really give the government candidates some advantage. And we are making sure that that does not happen again. And that is why the first question about permission to come in, we are very suspicious that that is what they want to use to prevent you from coming home to vote if you wish to do so. So that is one of the things we will do. In terms of the voters list, we have met with the supervisor of election, not me directly. Secondly, I met with him firstly, but secondly, the Honorable Congress Maynard, our leader, Emeritus Dr. Douglas, and our deputy leader, the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley, would have met with the supervisor of election. And I, as the leader of the party, would have met with him even before that to say to him the irregularities that can come up in the electoral office, that we will not accept them as such. And therefore, we are searching for more openness and transparency. So we are keeping a close eye on it. We are asking for international observers. We are really dealing with those issues that affected us the last time when it comes to the conduct of the elections, and down to the very box we are saying that we will not accept that anymore. And therefore, we are doing a number of things, but there are serious, serious concerns. But I want to say clearly that the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party will not accept again these irregularities and undemocratic practices by the electoral, that went on electorally during the last election. We will not accept it once again.
I would respond to the question about housing. I just want to draw this or bring some perspective to the question of housing in St. Kitts and Nevis. Between 1980 excuse me, and 1995, the then PAM administration built about 250 homes for our people. Between 2015 and 2022, the Unity construct said that they built 400 homes. So in the span of 22 years between PAM and Unity, they have acknowledged or suggested that they build 650 homes in 22 years. By comparison, between 1995 and 2015, the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party built almost 5,000 homes for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. There is no comparison. So when we in Labour say that we will once again embark upon another housing revolution, well, you must believe us. Because our record is very clear to see that it is our party that has been at the forefront of empowering our people through land and home ownership. And so once again, we will embark on a housing revolution, to improve the housing stock in St. Kitts and Nevis. Because the reality is, although we would have built so many houses in our administration from 1995 to 2015, there is still a lot of need there, as the questioner has acknowledged. And we are keenly aware of that and are intent on correcting that and moving our people one step further into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go on, I would just like to remind those who are logged in to the Zoom webinar that you have the added privilege of delivering a video question or comment, or if you just want to give some greetings to the candidates. So just raise your hand and our technicians will acknowledge and allow you to speak by video. Are there any further questions?
Yes, we have a few questions coming in. We will now ask the question. This one comes in from Jabari Trotman. Would Labour engage the Chamber, the Christian Council, and the Bar Association, along with other institutions, about the who stay out policy? Who out stay out policy? Would the SKNLP be proactive in addressing this issue, and how? Again, would Labour engage the Chamber, the Christian Council, the Bar Association, and other such institutions about the who out stay out policy? Would the SKNLP be proactive in addressing this issue, and how? We also have one coming in from Leroy Chambers. Is there any legal or political means that can prevent Timothy from locking down the country after music festival if he chooses to do so using COVID as a reason or an excuse? Is there any legal or political premise or any other means that can prevent Timothy from locking down the country after music festival if he chooses to do so using COVID-19 as a reason or an excuse? We also have one coming in from another supporter. Is the SKNLP party prepared to start making demands for international observers? The date has not yet been announced, but all parties and stakeholders are aware that there is a timeline by which it must be held. Again, is the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party prepared to start making demands for international observers? The date has not yet been announced, but all parties and stakeholders are aware that there is a timeline by which it must be held.
All right, thank you very much. With respect to the last question, I think I answered that one already. We have already signed the letters, and the letters would have been sent to these organizations, of course, outlining that the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party's position is to have observers from the region and from the international community, and also from the local community. So I've already answered that, and we have already taken action with respect to that. Now, the other thing with respect to taking legal action, that is actually on the table. We will not accept using COVID, especially when there's no justification for it, to keep our people out. This thing about asking our nationals to seek permission to come home does not make any sense. And we will look at the law, and our legal team is already engaged, because we are saying that this must not take place. But apart from that, I think that it is time that Harris should not be kept comfortable in his position. He is acting like a dictator. And therefore, we must make sure that we do not allow his dictatorship to continue. That is why the NGOs have written, and they have signed on to a letter to say that Harris's actions are not within the norms of what are expected in a democratic country. He's signing big contracts. making big policy decisions. And he only have the support of 2 other members who are elected to parliament. He has 3 out of 11, or 2 out of 10 besides him. It means, therefore, that 8 out of 10 do not support Harris. And therefore, we are saying that Harris must not be allowed to continue the dictatorial action that he's carrying on within our country at this time. So I want to alert you that the time has come to really tell Harris, time to end the facade, time to end the dictatorial action. Our people must now take action to bring this to an end, get an election, get a mandate, and move on with a government that is established on democratic principles. This is too much now. He has overdone it, and Harris needs to end this dictatorship. So we'll do it from the legalistic point of view. We'll do it through protests, through many means, and this would mean hitting the streets, and telling Harris we will not accept this anymore. Enough is enough. And so therefore, I want to say to you, our people in the diaspora, that we must all band together to ensure that this comes to an end.
I think one of the concerns of our diaspora, our comrades living in the diaspora, as I just got a message, is that based on the experience the last time they attempted to come home to vote, they were faced with some challenges. But we believe that that cannot and will not be repeated. So you have nothing to fear. You'll be able to travel to St. Kitts and get back to your destination as regular travelers.
Thank you. We now have a comment/statement. I have listened to our political leader, Dr. Terrance Drew. You spoke about reestablishing good governance, and the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, who also spoke about stabilizing good governance with the Labour Party. I am very happy to hear this. However, there has been rumors that there will still be trouble with the Labour Party once elected. I am humbly asking, please don't make the same mistake with this country as showed by this comedy show, demonstrated by Team Unity. We have a good political leader, the next Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis 2022, with 7 other excellent Labour candidates. Support each other and let's re-establish good governance. I am proud to be a Labour, and I am proud of our Team 2022. I will be voting in constituency number 4. Samuel, you have my vote.
Just before the common leader attempt to add his 2 pence, I just want to let the general public know that what they are seeing from the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party candidates, that is, it is something that is real and genuine. We have true love among each and every one of us, and there is nothing to be fearful about. All of us have given our full support to our comrade leader, and I'm calling on those of you in the diaspora and even those of you who are home, don't get distracted and get caught up. This is a united team that will settle St. Kitts and Nevis once again under the leadership of Dr. Terrance Drew, our leader and our next Prime Minister. Common leader, sorry for thieving your thunder, but I thought I should say that on our behalf.
Well, I have to apologize too, as I must step in here as well. And just to inform the person who was questioning, This is always part of the propaganda of the opposition. Their team is dismantled, fragmented. There is no love. It has been so for a very long time, and they're trying to drag us in the mess. Tell them, keep us out of that. The Labour Party is a 90-year institution that has lived on because our candidates are rooted in similar philosophies that differences cannot shake. We are rooted together. We have one mission, we have one goal, and we support our leader, we support our structure because it has worked for years upon years. So don't have any worry at all. Just as you've seen us before 2022, before 2021, before 2020, before 2019, before 2018, and so on, we are committed together in moving forward to provide a stable government for this country. And so I want to join Jeffrey and 100% support his comments, and we'll now pass over to the comrade leader to top it off.
The comrade leader asked that I say something. So I thought Jeff would bring the scriptures, but because he didn't bring the scriptures, I am going to bring the scriptures.
That is why I'm training you guys, and I'm so proud.
So I'm going to read from the book of Labor. The book of Labor, the Labour Party. It says, let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God and believe in the Labour Party. In our house, there are 8 constituencies. And in those 8 constituencies, we believe in each other. We will go to government and prepare a place for you. And in that, all of us will be satisfied. Okay? Don't let your heart be troubled, comrades.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
Right, so I want to say with respect to that,
I should add as well, in respect to observers, I know a caller mentioned about international observers. These elections and any elections in St. Kitts and Nevis is an election for the people. And the most fundamental observers we have are the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. On election day, we don't just go out and vote. We go out and make sure that the government of the day that we want to establish, that the people want to establish in St. Kitts and Nevis, that is the government of their choosing. And the people of St. Kitts Nevis, when they go out and vote on election day to decide that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is the party of their choice, we have a fundamental right to observe any and everything that this unity concoction will do to steal the government of your choice away from you. We have to be vigilant. We have to be observant. As we say in labor, mark a man and watch the hand. You ought not to let anyone steal the government away from you, the government of your choice. So as much as we welcome the international observers, we, every citizen, every voter, have the right to decide which political party will be their government. So I say to you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, I say to you, to the people in the diaspora, yes, Dr. Drew and the leadership will make a pledge for international observers, but we have to do our choice as citizens. We have to do what we have to do as citizens to ensure that the government of the day is the government that the people of St. Kitts Nevis deserve, and that is the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party.
Right. Thank you, Comrade Leon. Excellent, excellent. I want to say and thank the 2 deputies for weighing in on this, that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is a mature party. It has gone through a process where it elected a new leader in myself and 2 deputy leaders, both of whom spoke just before me, who are well known. And it is quite established within the party that that is the will of the people of our party, and the constitution of our party is very, very clear. And therefore, all of these talks are talks of people trying to divide the great Labour Party. But I want to say today, as Comrade Conway would have said, that this party is a strong party. The party is established on democratic principles even before St. Kitts and Nevis had democracy. Our party had democracy. We are rooted. We are not easily shaken. And so I want to say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and to our comrades that we are united and we are strong. Our party has always been strong and will continue to be strong. So while they're on the other side, cursing each other, pulling each other down, calling each other vagabond, and bunch of this and bunch of that, and despot and so forth, we in the Labour Party, we are supporting each other and holding each other up. And so I want to thank the other candidates for their strong support and thank the comrades of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party for electing me to be the leader at this time in our history. And there will be no doubt that when the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party wins the next election, that I will be the next Prime Minister. They are again at it trying to distort the facts and trying to create some sort of confusion where there is none. So I say to our comrades, hold strain, be wise. Your St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party is strong and will be better for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes, the case is straight when it comes to the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. Chalk and cheese, chalk and cheese. I would just like to take a moment to remind folks that they can even now visit the SKNCitizens.org webpage. You just log on to www.skncitizens.org and feel free to make a contribution to our party. We would now take two final questions. Before we hear again from our comrade leader with his closing remarks.
Okay, we have two video questions coming in from our participants. The first one will come from Charles Mills.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking my call. I want to thank the leadership of the Labour Party for hosting this conference. This is awesome. And I do want to, however, point out that one thing I would really like to see some more of is some more clear communications, both in written form and not just on Facebook. There are many people who are not on Facebook, but what is not clear sometimes is what are the policies of the Labour Party, the actual policies going forward. So I know I have sometimes heard Dr. Drew make some really great comments on freedom sporadically, but I have to be lucky to hear that sometimes. And what I would love is for there to be some written, clear indication of what the policies of the Labour Party are going forward, right? I know that this crowd of people who are here on this call, they're already converted. You're preaching to the converted. It's the folks who are, totally fed up with what's going on, with the current government and their cronies. Those are the ones we need to reach out to. And what are we doing to do that in a way that is open and allows folks who are not necessarily clear on what it is that Labour plans to do. I heard some today. I heard Conrace, and I've heard several folks mention some of the policies. Sometimes for the first time I'm hearing them. And I think it would be great if we can have that in written form and not just on Facebook, as I said before. And that communication, I think, is important for us to go out and bring more people into the party. Let's not preach the converted. Let's go out and get some more. One thing that is not clear to me, for example, is what are we doing with relates to infrastructure? How are we planning to improve the computer infrastructure? I heard Congress mention a few things earlier about e-government, but what about other areas? If we look at cable and, the broadband connectivity in St. Kitts and Nevis, it is awful. What is Labour doing in order to be able to make that more effective so we can get and draw in more people from diaspora to come back home and work from St. Kitts? So if someone can speak a little bit about what the policies are and put that in writing, that would be great. Thank you so much.
The second question.
The second question comes from Akeem Brown.
Okay, while we're connecting, we will have candidates respond to that first question.
Yes, thank you very much. With respect to the question that was posed by Mr. Mills, I want to thank you for that question. At this present moment, the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party will be finalizing its manifesto, which will also be available in soft copy, and that will go around the world, of course, to see more succinctly and in one place our policies going forward. Of course, this is a process that is ongoing. It has been an ardent process that is based on a number of principles, and so that will be presented in short order. So I want to thank you for that, and you will get a chance to see it, as would all of our citizens here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So thank you, Mr. Mills, and that is actually being completed as we speak.
Are we ready for the second?
We were unable to connect with Akeem Brown, so we will now move to Mr. William Natter.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Great meeting. I love everything that you guys are saying. I have a question about the quarantine situation, because I know you said His Excellency is in quarantine. So is that something that you guys see that will continue for the elections going forward? And then I have another question, I guess, for everyone as well. When it comes to the electoral reform, like, are we gonna be seeing something that's introduced where we have overseas voters being able to cast their vote without coming back home? Is that something that we're going to see in the future? Also, the counting of ballots. I know a lot of countries in the Caribbean, especially, they count their ballots right in the same spot where the ballots are being cast. Is there like a reform on that, especially because of past elections where we see boxes going missing, or we having to drive these boxes around, which is putting it in harm's way of everyone basically that are following these boxes? Can we just like count them in the future where the ballots are being cast? Those are the three questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Natter. I will respond to the latter part of your question with respect to electoral reform. I will introduce that by saying sometimes when you create legislation, you do it in thinking that you will always have good people exercising the legislation and not abusing it. But what the last 7 years has shown us is that we have to have a holistic approach to our electoral reform, such that people like Timothy Harris cannot take advantage of what would be loopholes or shortcomings in the legislation. And so, yes, the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party commits to a complete review of our electoral laws with, of course, a revamping to ensure that we reach to a state comparable to more developed countries. And so, yes, we would want to engage our diaspora, those who live here, about what are some of the things we want to see in a new electoral system. Would it include, for instance, voters casting their vote where they are? We know that in many developed countries, that is what they do now. You have overseas ballots, and there is a system that manages that to preserve the integrity. And so this is something we would want to certainly have a discussion on. And there are a whole host of other things, making the electoral office more independent of the ministers of government, for instance, because there is still that oversight. Perhaps we need to look at how we can make it completely independent such that all political parties can be assured of the integrity of the process. And so we will engage in that electoral reform system, especially in light of what we see happening, the abuses that are done by the hand specifically of Timothy Harris. So we want to give you that commitment that St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party will embark on that endeavor.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, comrades, the questions have just been pouring in. And so we are going to extend, if it's okay with everyone, for another 15 minutes to accommodate 2 additional questions, 1 video and 1 by way of text. Proceed.
We'll now take a video question from username tr.bellet.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. My quick question. First of all, I'd like to greet all the comrades. Good afternoon from St. Martin. And I would like to especially greet my Rep. Marsha Henderson. Hi, Marsha. Greetings. My question is, are there tickets available for any overseas voters? Because here in St. Martin, 2 persons requested tickets for my constituency. Can I ask, is there a ticket for anyone to come home? And number 2, I would like to see the comrades. Dr. Drew usually be on EK on Wednesdays, but I would like to see more comrades on EK. I know 1 or 2 persons have been on WIM FM, but I would like to see more comrades on EK or any other person that hosts the Freedom Show, that they be on to answer the questions of the people. I thank you and have a blessed day further.
We'll now have our video question from DJ Marisho.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to our candidates there in the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis.
Yes.
Special good evening here to the folks across the globe. Now, as someone who feels very strongly about the situation that is going on in St. Kitts at the moment, I heard Dr. just said Timothy Harris is acting like a dictator. He's not acting. He has demonstrated thus far that he is already a dictator to the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis. Parliament was dissolved on the 10th of May. What Timothy Harris should have been doing from then until the date of the election was to make sure that the country is safe and election is done fairly and smoothly. We are seeing millions of dollars in contracts being signed. We are seeing all kinds of illegal stuff. The country is suffering from a water drought, which in the history of St. Kitts, I know it was a proud nation. I remember when Antigua and the Virgin Islands like Tortola and St. Thomas, where we're living, was suffering from water. I used to brag and boast about our water in St. Kitts-Nevis. I actually used to work for a water plant, Tropical Water, where we deliver water around the islands in St. Thomas and stuff like that. So we have some serious issues in the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis. And I am of the view, and I hope I am wrong, but I am of the view that Timothy Harris would stop at no means to do whatever it takes, illegal or not, to stay in power. And we, the people of St. Kitts-Nevis, the citizens of St. Kitts-Nevis, home and abroad, by whatever means necessary legally, have to make sure that Timothy Harris stop his nonsense and demand that a date of election is called soon. If our country is in this mess from the 10th of May until now, could you imagine giving this despot 5 more years? What the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis will be dealing with? So my people, I am reaching out to you and I'm calling on you. You who might be quietly waiting for the elections to vote for Labour, I don't have an issue with you waiting to vote for a Labour Party, because that is what the Federation needs now. But I am calling to you to stop the carnage. What is taking place in the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis, it's killing us out here. As a matter of fact, my heart hurts when I'm seeing online all of these things that is taking place. So my question to the candidates there, to the leader. What's going to be done in the next couple of weeks until election is called, starting tomorrow? What is going to be done to make sure that Timothy Harris follow the science? They like to use the word follow the science. America, who is one of the superpower in science, as of today, stop requiring folks to take a COVID test to come into North America. In the Virgin Islands, you no longer have to go into the portal to ask for permission to come home. And the Virgin Islands is way more advanced with COVID cases than St. Kitts-Nevis. There is a music festival in a couple of days. I have seen Timothy Harris at work. I am sorry that I'm not there on the ground to do my part that I need to do, which is to keep the awareness, do the necessary demonstration. So I'm calling on you, the people in the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis. I know you guys are not like me, as they call me, rebel. I know I'm not a rebel, but I want to see the best for St. Kitts-Nevis. So I'm asking you, the leadership of Labour. The world have seen the carnage in St. Kitts-Nevis. Everybody have a concern. Over the next couple of weeks, what's going to be happening with this electoral office? Are we going to continue to allow Timothy to go out there and openly bribe and pay voters to register as PLP and do all kind of nonsense and intimidating the voters while we know it is illegal to do this kind of stuff? Are we going to stand by and allow Timothy Harris to continue to have these press conferences and act like things are normal in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis when things are not? Are we going to continue to have this illegitimate Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, to disrespect the Federation and the people on the international stage because we are looked at as fools? We are being laughed at. I am a part of a cricket league here. 10 teams, and they're laughing at us. They're asking me questions. They even asking me why don't I go home and run for office? I tell them I don't need to go home and run for office. I have 8 capable citizens in St. Kitts-Nevis that is capable of doing the right thing, and they have my full support. So all of those calls I am getting asking me if I am running for office and why don't I run for office, the answer is no. I can do a better job from over here. My sister there, Marsha Henderson, I know she will represent me well. And by extension, every one of you gentlemen will do a good job. So my question is, what is the move? Let the people know. The questions have been asked. What is the steps going forward for the next couple of weeks to stop Timothy Harris from acting as if things are normal and he have another 5 years in office? Because he don't. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. And I'll answer that last question. In the rally last night, that humongous rally in Newton Ground, I said that the people really need to change gear in how they confront Timothy Harris and how they deal with this illegitimate, well, you can call it legitimate, but this dictatorship by Timothy Harris. He's really abusing the Constitution. And I think the NGO letter that was put out, and I encourage all of us to take a look at that letter for us not to think that it's only the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party who might have a problem. But I want to say to our people that Timothy Harris has to be seriously challenged. Challenged on the radio and challenged on the streets. This cannot continue as business as normal. And I think that there would be an added dimension in which we force this dictatorial attitude and this dictatorship to come to an end. When we look at other countries and we see these things, we ask, why aren't the citizens standing up? And so I ask ourselves that we must stand up. Why aren't we standing up more? The answer is that will happen. And the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party will lead it. Pam cannot lead it. Pam was a part of it. Pam contributed to it. The only party here in St. Kitts and Nevis right now, and especially here on St. Kitts, who can challenge Timothy Harris and this government, who has the moral high ground to do so, is the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. They all participated in this quagmire. They're all responsible for what the situation is today. And the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party will lead the people of St. Kitts and Nevis out of this mess. And I want you, DJ Mauricio, to say to those people, and you have answered them correctly, and to say to them that we will see increased activity because we have to protect, we have to defend, and we have to ensure that our democracy is not threatened. So I'm saying clearly that we will do what we have to do, but it cannot be business as usual, and it will not be business as usual.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for all who are tuned in. And we thank you for your active participation in this discussion. It was truly interactive. It was truly enlightening. And we hope that as a party, we have shed some light in terms of our policies, in terms of our vision, and that we have excited you in the diaspora to come home and participate. It is your right as citizens, and we will fight to protect that right. So with that being said, unfortunately, we have to wrap things up. We did promise that we would end at 4. We know we have our students in Taiwan where it's about 4 a.m. and our folks in the UK where it's now approaching 10 or after 10 p.m. And so out of respect for that, we would unfortunately have to close out. But for those who would have submitted questions, those have been noted, and we will find some means to answer your question. With that being said, please join me and in ovation, wherever you are, to welcome our comrade leader, the next Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, to the podium to deliver closing remarks.
Right, thank you very, very much.
Dr. Drew ready, Labour ready, red and ready. Dr. Drew ready, Labour ready, red and ready. We ready. Dr. Drew ready, 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 ready to lead the government, yeah. So all who did think he did already.
Thank you very much. I want to say to my colleagues who are here with me, our other candidates, that I really appreciate your support and your really encouragement in moving our party forward. We do recognize that our activities here, our activities are not solely for the party, but for the soul of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are fighting for the soul of St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to say to you, our fellow citizens in the diaspora, not just those who are supporters of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party, but to all of our citizens, that our country here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are in a very difficult situation. Never have we been so divided as a country since independence. We were promised unity in 2015, but what has been delivered 7 years later is the most divided country that we have ever had. We have become the laughing stock of not only the Caribbean, but those who are paying attention internationally. They have come to recognize that St. Kitts-Nevis has a democracy that is on the edge. We have a fallen government, a coalition where the members go at each other in ways that we in the Labour Party would not have gone after them. One calling the other vagabond and wagabond, and he should have fired them long time. The other calling the other despot and warmonger, the worst type of words to describe each other. And while they argue with each other, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are in the crossfire and bearing the brunt. But the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party stands by its motto for the good that we can do. And we come to say to the people that it will be better with Labour. We're not only delivering for the party, but we are delivering for all of our citizens. The policies and plans that we have been putting out, and those will become more succinct when we put out our manifesto, these policies and plans are really for all of our people, not just members of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. They will benefit those who consider themselves traditional PAM, those who consider themselves traditional, non-aligned in terms of their political situation, and those who might be members of other parties other than the one that I mentioned. But the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party stands ready, stands united, stand ready to lead this country back to number one. And I'm asking you in the diaspora, to help us in that journey. You have to become engaged. If you want to save the soul of your country, you must become engaged. Do not stand on the sideline. Make that call. Write a letter. Write a note. Support the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party financially also, because we need your support. Our website was given, which has a support button. You can support that organization. You can support the whole effort that we are moving forward. It needs resources in order for us to complete it. I appeal to you. I ask you to help us to preserve democracy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. It is bad, and we cannot allow it to continue. Look at the NGO letter. For those of you who might think that the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party is using this for political reasons, I'm asking you to look at the NGO letter, because the NGOs have said clearly that what is taking place should not be taking place. They have independently said that. We have been saying that. And so if all of us are saying basically the same thing, then we must take action. But I want to assure you that the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party is not going to stand by and allow this dictatorship to continue. We will take the necessary actions that must be taken. We will do all that we can do to ensure that democracy is preserved here in St. Kitts and Nevis, so that you can once again be proud of your country. Once again, you can talk of your country boastfully in the classrooms, in your workplace, on the streets of New York, on the streets of Toronto, whether you're in Taiwan, Cuba, around the Caribbean, that you can boast that your country is one of those countries that really, really follow the principles of good governance, transparency, and openness in government. We are not that. We are dark cloud over the democratic process in the OECS. Countries are very appalled because St. Kitts-Nevis situation is pulling down all of the countries within the region. And so we have an obligation, and I appeal to you to make sure that you do your part to restore democracy here. At this time, you can see our team, and I'm sure that you can say that we look good. We ain't only look good, but we are good. We're good, and we are ready. And so I'm asking you to show your support and to vote for Marsha Henderson constituency number 2. I'm asking you to show your support and vote for Samuel Duggins in constituency number 4. I'm asking you to show your support and vote for Congress Maynard, our deputy, in constituency number 3. I'm asking you to vote and support our next deputy, the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley of constituency number 1. I'm asking you in constituency number 6 to continue your strong, unwavering support for the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and our candidate, Comrade Dr. Denzel Douglas, Honorable. I'm asking you to support and to vote for Comrade Leon Natter in constituency number 7. And Comrade Kenny, who is not here because of circumstances beyond all of our control, I'm asking you also to vote for him in constituency number 5. I want you to take a look at our team. This is a real team that has a diversity of expertise. But one thing we all have in common is that we have always been serving our people, and we are willing to continue to serve our people in Parliament and in a cabinet. I, as the leader, am asking you to support the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and to vote for the hand and to vote for us to stabilize St. Kitts and to create once again a stable democratic government. And I promise you, my pledge to you, my commitment is that we will create a country that you will once again be proud of. Things will be better with the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party. Thank you very much.
Excellent, excellent. Comrades of Labour. Comrades of Labour, yes, our nation is under siege, but Freedom Day is coming. Freedom Day is coming when we elect this team and we take them to Church Street. So I want to thank everyone for their participation today. All who would have logged in from cities around the world, those who gathered in groups, those who patched in individually from their homes. I want to say thank you so much for your participation, for your attendance. And we will continue this series as we go forward, even beyond a general election. We consider the diaspora to be very important, and we value you beyond just the vote. You are who will assist us when it comes to pushing forward our national development agenda. And there will be dividends in it for you as well. And so I want to just thank briefly the organizers on both sides here in St. Kitts, as well as those who would have assisted us overseas. I would also like to thank those who would have made a presentation in poem or in song. To the person who delivered the national anthem, I would like to say a special thank you. And our special person who also delivered the invocation, I say a special thank you. Thank you, all of you. And do stay engaged. As the comrade leader said, write, call in, do whatever you can to put some pressure and to show the man who feels he has the O that your X is way more powerful than the O come election day. Thank you all. Have a great Sunday. See you on the other side when you come home. All right, take care.
Thank you, Narisa, for your moderating. Thanks to the folks and the technical. Derek here from the Gaza, and as usual, I'll bring the closing track by the late great the man King Arrow. Citizens, you know you have to arise. Your country needs you. The Labour Party needs you to assist them in getting us back on track. So please take a listen to this track and listen to the words. Follow the lyrics of the man, the late great Arrow.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? And stand up for